Liam Sanford, welcome to Forces Sport. What an exciting year you've had, but like the rest of it, it's been a bit uncertain for the last couple of years. But I think the first question we should go into is what's it like coming back from an Olympic Games and finding your life again?
Well, he's not even changed his clothes.
I know.
I wouldn't if I had that top. I love it.
Yeah, it was weird but nice at the same time. So obviously coming home, obviously back to Fran and the new puppy was very exciting. Like when I'm in a tournament, I would get very tournament mode, and as soon as it's over, like I'm straight out of tournament mode. So I think we got knocked out on like Friday or something at 11 o'clock at night or something their time. By 11:30, I was like, right, get me home now. Like, and obviously we didn't come back till Sunday, so it was a bit annoying, but yeah, coming back was amazing. Obviously seeing Fran, obviously the dog went absolutely mental, which was literally all I wanted. That was all I wanted him to remember me.
Because you did say before you went away, well, you were actually in Tokyo at that point, you said, I only care that the dog won't recognise me when I get back.
Yeah, so glad he
did.
recognised me. And then yeah, like obviously I think total of 6 weeks off before obviously I came back here. So it was nice just to catch up with family, friends, kind of just decompress from the whole year really, of building up. And then yeah, coming back into work, bit of a shock to the system. Obviously having to iron again for the first time in 5 years, that was a bit weird. Getting up at 5:30, that was quite tough as well. Not really used to that, but all in all, it's been good. Like the guys over in Ops have been really welcoming, really nice bunch of guys and girls. So yeah, happy.
Because it was a 3-1 defeat to India in that quarter-final. So did that reflect then your mood, why you just wanted to get out of Tokyo and get back home?
Yes and no. So like, obviously everyone was obviously gutted after it. Obviously on the bus it was pretty quiet on the way back. Like no one really said anything. People pretty much just had their headphones in and stuff. But then once we got back, went for food, and basically just sat in a group, had a couple of drinks with each other, and that kind of lifted it a bit. Obviously, doesn't completely get rid of that feeling, but you can kind of park it for a bit. And then obviously people have their own way of dealing with disappointment. I say quite quickly over it, quite quickly could like process it in my mind, whereas other people may have taken longer, shorter. But everyone kind of done the work with like, the psychs and stuff to obviously prepare for that potential. So hopefully, obviously, I don't think anyone was ridiculously bad. But yeah, I think it was a tough moment for everyone, really.
Is it difficult as well when, if you're a GB athlete and you come home from a Games which was very successful for some GB athletes, and obviously I think the ladies got a bronze medal, didn't they? So is it difficult for you personally because you didn't go as far as you wanted in your own sport, but at some point do you kind of reflect and go, well, as a GB athlete I should be proud for getting where we got to and for the bigger sort of picture that you represent? How long does that take to sort of be proud, the reflection?
Don't really know how long it would take. Like I think, like obviously everyone, like you're obviously really happy for everyone, like whether they've, done really well. Obviously, like with my first Olympics, like so obviously that's an achievement in itself. Like obviously the people that won like their medals, you have to just give them credit. Like obviously, there's some people that might have been their first Olympics, might have been their third, maybe fourth, maybe fifth, Like, and everyone puts in so much hard work in a 4-year cycle, let alone a 5-year cycle. So you just have to kind of go, right, fair play. Like, you obviously done everything you could have, and on the day it's gone your way. And for us, it didn't. Whether that's like we didn't play as well as we should have done, that will be dependent on who you probably speak to, in my opinion. I don't think we turned up in that game, really. Obviously, the girls getting a bronze, obviously, like, yeah, probably at first it's like, oh, for God's sake. But again, like, once that kind of goes again, it's like, well done. Like, you beat people that were in front of you to get where you got to, and all you can really do is say, like, well done, fair play. Like, there's no point in being bitter about it, because you being bitter to, I don't know, Tom Daly, who won gold with his partner, that doesn't help me winning a medal in hockey. So, like, there's no point of being like that. You might as well just go, well done. Like, fair play, you deserve like all the praise and all the credit, because it's not like you've just sat around and done nothing for 5 years. Like, I remember I spoke to a swimmer and their program, Jesus, I wouldn't want to be doing what they were doing and stuff like that. So, and they probably look at hockey and go, I wouldn't want to do that. So, yeah, like, for me, I don't think it really crossed my mind about other athletes in terms of, oh, I don't like you because you got a gold or whatever. It was probably more just, I'd focus on hockey and be like, oh, that was a bit rubbish, or, you know, that's a bit annoying, or that sucks. Even some of the lads, they went down to the women's game. I think it was the next day. So, whereas others didn't, because they were just like, can't be in the stadium right now or something, whereas, you know, other people were more than happy. And I think that is very individual, and I think we have to just respect that, you know, everyone's different. So,
Well, defeat does hurt, and defeat at a major tournament such as the Olympics, I can't imagine what your team were going through. But if we hark back to 1988, that glorious moment when Barry Davis said, where are the Germans? Quite frankly, who cares?
yeah.
That success for GB back in Seoul in 1988, you weren't even alive. Has that been a bit of an albatross around the neck for teams that have followed? Have you always felt as if you were trying to live up to that success all those years ago?
Personally, I'd say no. As an individual, obviously, you know, commentators, media, they'll always compare to other teams. So, like, naturally, like, people probably look at us compared to Rio and like, oh, well, you've done better, so it's a success. But yeah, okay, that is one success. But for me personally, I didn't go to Rio. I don't care where they came in Rio. I care about how this team did. And there was a genuine belief that in this team we could go and get a medal. So I think that's probably where a lot of the hurt come from, in terms of there was a genuine belief within the squad. And the fact that we didn't do that because, in my opinion, we didn't turn up against India, that's what I think where the real hurt is. In regards to the 1988, like, obviously, you know, it's a great achievement to win any medal at any major tournament, let alone a gold at the Olympics. But they don't happen all that often. And I think as a nation, I think we got one gold and maybe another medal, I can't remember. So that kind of says it all. And trying to kind of break that trend is, you know, it's going to take a long time. And like, I think there is obviously a clear path that we are getting better. We are competing more with, you know, the top nations. So, you know, Paris, let's see what happens.
And in terms of your love for the game, aside from, you know, being down after that result in Tokyo, do you still have that love for the game? You see that as your future? You know, you haven't fallen out of love with hockey or anything?
No, definitely. Yeah, I absolutely still love the game. Like, obviously, club, like OGs. It's great. It's great. It was great to go back. Like, I think if I went back straight away, probably would have hated it, because, you know, everyone would just ask you about it, and, you know, you haven't compressed it or, you know, processed it in your own mind. So if people then start harping on about how was Tokyo, what happened, what was this, like, you'd just be like, leave me alone. Like, so I think the 6 weeks off was definitely needed. And Hughesy, the coach, was really, like, you know, happy with that, and wasn't like pushy about me coming back at all. He was just like, come back when you're ready. But no, like, love for the game hasn't gone. Like, really was really happy coming back to OGs, playing hockey, and obviously league started now. We've had a strong start, and obviously, yeah, looking forward to getting back with the programme in January when it kicks up again. And building towards the next one.
Look, one thing that us people who will never ever be Olympians want to know is, what's it like in the village? This time it was different,
Yeah.
obviously because of COVID, but do you allow yourself the chance to, you know, see which famous sports people are out there, or are you literally stuck in those little bubbles?
I think, again, it is probably very individual. I'd probably class myself as a bit of a hermit. So, you know, like and Murray was there, so I remember when we had like the opening ceremony kind of outside the block, loads of people were flooding Murray trying to get a photo. I feel a bit bad because I'm just like, you probably want to enjoy this moment and everyone's asking you for a photo. So I'm not really, I'm never that person to go and ask someone for a photo because I'm like, everyone's trying to get a photo with you and I don't want to be that person. But obviously it's cool, like obviously you've grown up watching, you know, Djokovic, Murray, you know, there were some basketball players there if you watch basketball, and other people, and obviously, you know, to hockey, which isn't the biggest sport in the world, it is obviously very like amazing seeing these people just walking about, like, and you're like, I'm in the same village as you, like, what is going on?
I'm on your team.
Yeah,
like, Team GB.
And the accommodation itself, what's it like in your rooms and you know, food wise, and is it like mess life? Is it different to that?
Rooms, it was actually really good because we were in apartments of, I think we had a 7 and then 2 8s. So actually it was really good in that respect because like you're kind of not just with the same person for what, like 4 weeks. So, you know, like I think we pretty much every night just played cards on the balcony and kind of just like, you know, had chats there, which was really good, like way to like, I don't know, decompress from like training or a game that day or whatever. So that's really nice. The food was good, but obviously it gets a bit boring. Like, I'm pretty sure I just ate like the Chinese and Japanese section for 4 weeks. By the time I got home, I just fancied like a pizza or something like that. So yeah, it was good, but obviously, you know, it can get a bit, Guyozas again. So.
And you got home and you say, you know, it was a sort of 6 weeks off, which was nice from hockey and from life and from work. You came to Brize Norton, and also I think, talking about your love still for hockey, you got to play RAF Hockey in the inter-services for the first time, I think it was 2 years, and that was a very successful comeback for you.
Yeah, I think it actually might be 4 years since I played RAF Hockey. I think I was meant to play 2 years ago, but then I done my knee. But yeah, I think the last time I played was actually when I was in trade training, and I think that started the winning trend, so I'll take that on the shoulder. But no, yeah, it was very good to get back, especially like a lot of people obviously I haven't seen in a very long time, and also some new guys as well, obviously coming into the team. Like, obviously it's been a while since I've played, so. But it was also like nice to catch up with the army lads, navy lads. Obviously, I played like combined services with and stuff like that. And then obviously got the masters there, so my dad came down, was part of them. So it's all in all just like a really good get together. And then obviously winning it is always nice. You know, always want success. But yeah, that was really nice to actually get back and finally play some RAF hockey again.
And what was it like to, as a defender, to score that solo goal as well?
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Exactly.
I'm still waiting.
Were you shocked?
I was. Still waiting for my first GB goal. So it was definitely a surprise. Did get my first OG's goal on the weekend, so obviously I'm going up in the world on goals. So hopefully the GB goal will come soon.
You come from a military family,
yeah.
But you know your dad, I think 40 years in the Royal Air Force,
yeah.
And your brothers in the services as well, and your mum as well, all associated with the military. But where did the hockey connection come from?
So that came from my dad. So my dad played hockey. So when we lived out in Cyprus, me and my brother would basically like we'd just run on at half time, like steal my dad's sticks, you know, as kids do. You go have a knockabout. And then when we moved to England, basically they were just like, do you want to join a club? So we basically both joined. Fortunately, my brother got my mum's side of sports, so not very good. And I obviously got my dad's.
Your mum will love that.
It's fine. So I was fortunate I got dad's side. Like dad done a whole host of different sports, and he only picked up hockey, I think, like late 20s. So yeah, he played like RAF, played in services, UCAF and stuff like that. So I was quite lucky to get that side of the DNA.
What is it that you enjoy so much about the game?
It's a tough question, really, all of it.
Because I mean, look at the state of your fingers today.
I know, that was actually from falling over.
Okay.
So not really doing anything.
I thought that was hockey related.
It was on the pitch,
right.
It wasn't just walking down the street.
It was Liam's GB coach, Danny Kerry, who, when I asked him about what sort of player you were and what you brought to the squad, and he said, well, he encapsulates that military, put your body on the line, and he said that's what makes you such a good defender. So you know, despite all your goals, I think he's quite happy with you in defence. So you know, do you pride yourself on that, and sort of that's your love for the game and your love for your teammates as well is shown in the way you play.
Yeah, definitely. Like I would say, I'm probably a player that no one really likes me when I'm on the pitch, which is something I quite enjoy. Obviously, I'd like to say I'm quite a nice guy off the pitch. Wait to be seen. But yeah, no, it's definitely like absolutely love defending, love a clean sheet, like love hitting people within the rules. That definitely is like attacking. I'm a bit like I let other people do that.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress.
It's in amongst the
building.
goals now. Yeah.
Exactly. Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I say I love most about the game. And then obviously you got all the, like, you know, the team side of it, and that's always been like a big part of like my life. Like me and my family, we're just a team. So yeah, so that kind of team ethos and, you know, the banter within a team, all of that stuff is a massive contribution to why I play hockey and why I love hockey, really.
You play at Old Georgians, fantastic club. There seems to be a nucleus of clubs in the London area. Is there much travelling involved in your league where you have to travel fixtures?
Yes and no. Obviously the London clubs, like the close ones, obviously Surbiton, Wimbo. But if obviously you get like Beeston, Brooklands, Exeter, Holcombe, you're travelling over to.
So there is a bit of travel involved.
Yeah, which is good. I think obviously travel is annoying for everyone, but having like representatives in kind of like, I'd say all parts, but you know, north, west, south, like it is good for the game, especially at the high levels. You don't kind of want everything in London, because then it's like, well, then the north's not, you know, there's no competition up north if there's not a Prem club. Like people can aspire to be like Brooklands, who, you know, from being so far away from the programme, have actually done so really well to, like, you know, maintain themselves in the Premier League. And then obviously the uni side's coming through. It's you know, depending on who you ask, it's good or it's bad. I think it's good. You know, you expose some people to Prem hockey, which, you know, they might not achieve if they went to, you know, Surbiton. So I think it's all good. Obviously, you know, travelling is a bit annoying for everyone, but.
And do these clubs host you after a match? I mean, do you unwind with, you know, perhaps, I don't know, a drink or something, or the standard fare, which tends to be chili? It tends to be the meal. You get to share something with the opposition afterwards.
Yeah. So everyone always puts on like food afterwards, and, you know, like everyone either has a beer or a Coke or whatever, and you just chill as a team. Whether it's half an hour, whatever, it's obviously just nice to kind of decompress after a game, because as you probably know, you know, there's arguments within a game, you know, but as long as everyone knows that, right, that's left on the pitch, or if something does need to be spoken about, it's not carried over or after the game, then it's nice to kind of chill out afterwards.
I was going to say, it's those moments perhaps that when we talk to elite sportsmen, that they're most treasured. It's those moments after the match in the clubhouse, making those friendships with your teammates and the opposition as well, that last you long after you've retired. Do you find that, are you building lots of sort of friendships through hockey?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think kind of mine and Fran's, like our basically social circle is just people we've met through hockey. And I think that's natural for, like, if you probably ask most hockey people, the friendship circles are probably hockey, because it is such a massive part of your life. Like, what you train Tuesday, Thursday, so I coach OGs too, so I go down to the club on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm there like
dedicated.
Yeah, like, so I'm there for like, you know, 4 days a week. Like, so naturally, like, your main kind of social circle is within hockey, and I think, you know, you're always meeting new people here, there, whatever club you go to, and it's always nice to, you know, have a different conversation with someone that actually, you know, might see things differently to you, or just, you know, someone that's played hockey for 40 years and actually telling you what hockey used to be like when they played on grass or something like that. Like, all those stories are really nice to hear in such a nice conversation, and obviously after a game it's the perfect time to have them.
Well, look, Kath said you know, you just competed and won the inter-services. What was it like this year's inter-services? Are you always impressed with the standard of play that's there?
Yeah, definitely. I remember when I went to my first inters, and basically everyone in the team said this is completely different to anything you ever played. And I was like, kind of thinking, like, what are you on about? Like, it's just a game of hockey. Played it, yeah, very different. For whatever reason, you get like a 5-minute spell of where like both teams will play you nice hockey, and then you get a 5-minute spell where both teams are like headless chickens just running after a hockey ball. Yeah, it's very different to normal hockey, but it's very good at the same time. So it's always fun to play in. I've always enjoyed the two that I've been to. It's always been enjoyable to play in it, mainly because obviously I get to play hockey and obviously catch up with a lot of people that I see very rarely. But the standard is generally always pretty good. I think this year obviously we were missing a fair few because of injuries or people away. I'm pretty sure that's always the same for the Army and the Navy as well. But we always seem to get good games, like good systems in place. So
did you feel a marked man because of your achievements in Tokyo and being GB? Did you feel like the standout player and the one that people are going to come
Were you
to?
double marked?
Yeah,
Throughout
exactly.
the tournament.
Yeah, a little bit. I just saw it as like kind of a good thing for my team though, if they did want to do that, because then it's like, well, there's space somewhere else. So if you want to mark me, that's fine, mark me. Like, you're just out of the game, I'll just run you around and that's fine. And I think that's especially with the RAF team anyway, like we have such good quality in the RAF. Whether you mark me or you used to be like, Sio, Godders out of the game, like we have good enough players in other positions that actually just play to that space that you've left open because you're man marking that person, and we just play that way. And then they probably quickly learn, right, we can't man mark one person out of the game. So, and it's good in that respect because like the RAF team has been so strong for the last 6 years now, and it looks like it's not going to dwindle anytime soon. So.
And what has life been like back in the RAF? Because it's been a while since you've actually done a job, having been on the elite sports scheme. Being a new posting at Bryce, you've moved. You're actually coming in a uniform every day.
Doing your trade,
yeah.
Remind us what the trade is.
So I'm in station ops here. Definitely different to what I was doing, but it's been good. Like the welcome that the guys and girls over there gave me was really nice. Felt that I fitted in really quite seamlessly and easy, which is always nice. You don't want to kind of come in and like everyone hates you because you haven't worked for like the last 5 years or something. So that's all been really good. Like the banter and all of that's been flowing as you'd kind of expect in a workplace. Obviously, there's been a few things that are a bit of a shock to the system. Getting up early, that's pretty much killed me. Ironing, to be fair, after about the first week, it was fine. You kind of just got back into the rhythm of it. But no, other than that, it's been good to kind of be back and actually experience it again. Remember what kind of normal life it is really. Well, especially for me prior to kind of playing hockey. And obviously it gives me perspective on obviously potential after hockey, what I would like to do or what potentially I would do or could do, and what different routes there are for my trade in the RAF. So
well, you're a great ambassador for Royal Air Force Sport, and you're going to have to ask them again if you can have their permission for you to be involved in Birmingham. So that's the Commonwealth Games for England this time. So your thoughts ahead of that campaign?
So obviously Tokyo ended, and then kind of basically spoke to the sports board and kind of they communicated with Bryce to basically set up an arrangement of right, he needs this time off to kind of decompress and stuff. So obviously that set my start date here. And then so basically kind of going through the process now of basically applying to get back on the elite athlete scheme. Obviously GB are going through their trial stuff now with like their talent confirmation stuff, and the program kicks back up in January. So my plan obviously is to come back, back into the programme in January and obviously start building towards the commies as England, and then obviously beyond that to the World Cup, which I think is next winter. I think it's in India again.
Who's hosting the World Cup this time?
India again, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's their national sport, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and I don't mind India. The crowds you get out there are it's always a very good experience playing out there.
You're 28 now, aren't you? So is it 28?
No.
25.
Sorry, you're 25. You're 25 now. So in terms of your years in the sport, you've got ages in front of you, especially your position as well.
Yeah.
I'm guessing defence, you perhaps don't run around quite as much as everyone else.
Definitely don't run around.
Apart from the
quite as
keeper,
much.
who does very little.
Well, don't tell George that. Yeah, hopefully, obviously, injury and everything goes well. Obviously, want to do the next one and the one after that. So obviously Paris and LA. So that would kind of be my plan. That would get me to 32, which I think's kind of quite a good time to retire. But then obviously, that's obviously years down the line. Obviously RAF, GB, that come into play. All I'm kind of really focusing on now is getting onto the next cycle and trying to do as well as we can in that kind of cycle. So,
well, as I say, a fantastic ambassador for RAF Sport. The RAF Sports Awards are coming up. Is that something that you'll be involved in this time around?
Yeah, I'll definitely try and be there. I always do. Again, it's a get together with people. It's always nice hearing other people's achievements, what they've done. Obviously, you can get quite focused on your sport and kind of forget that a load of other people do stuff. So obviously, it's always nice to go and listen to people's stories, what they've had to hurdles they've had to come over. Everyone's got different hurdles they've had to overcome to get where they are, and it's always impressive to hear different people's stories and the hurdles they've overcome and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully I'll be there and even if I just get to listen to other people, that's always it's always a good thing.
Are you a previous winner of that?
Yeah, so I think
UCAS sportsman.
Yeah.
So
I think that was the year I went to commies. I won the RAF and the UCAF one.
Yeah.
So I don't think they award them again, if that makes sense.
Oh,
now that
can you not win it?
I'm not
Can you
sure
not
you
win
can
it
win it
again?
twice.
No, I don't think. Well, I don't know. You might be able to.
Is that why you cost your team Olympic gold then? Couldn't
get the RAF Sports Award. I don't mind though. I've had the privilege, the honour of receiving that award, and I think it's quite nice that other people get that opportunity. It's quite easy just to give it to someone that's probably been to an Olympics, because there's not many people that go to an Olympics. Whereas, yeah, fine, I've done what I've done, but there's loads of people within the RAF that have done other things, whether it be, I don't know, fencing, archery, whatever sport they have, that also have incredible stories that there are to listen to, and they deserve that honour and privilege to achieve that award as well.
Yeah, so. I think you were the last service hockey player to make it to Olympic Games since Guy Fordham from the Army, along to 2000, I think it was. So, if there was a young up-and-coming service athlete, what do they have to do if they were to sort of emulate you and follow in your footsteps and make it to the Olympics?
Don't give up. If you've got a dream, go for it. You're gonna face hurdles. I've done both knees. There was a period probably within the cycle where I wasn't enjoying hockey and wasn't playing very well. Didn't really want to be there, and that wasn't good. But you're always going to get things like that. There's always, whatever it might be, home life. You might fall out with a coach or something. Just don't give up on it.
How did you shake yourself out of that mindset where you say you didn't want to be there, you weren't in love with hockey? How did you get back in love with hockey?
I think it's just being honest. You've always got people to talk to, whether it be your partner, your coach. Obviously, if you're playing to that level of sport, you've probably got a psychologist as well. So I just had a chat with Danny, and it was a very open and honest chat, and we kind of got to the bottom of it with the psychologist, and gave me a little bit a week or two off. I think mine fell over Christmas, so quite fortunate in that respect that I got 2-3 weeks off where I could completely just forget about hockey, just spend time with my family and friends, and then came back in December and I was enjoying it again. And I think like a lot of it is just down to your own mindset. Like I think the time I wasn't really enjoying it was pretty much just after, I think it was the first lockdown, and basically I was just really enjoying being at home because I just wasn't doing anything and basically just became lazy. And it's just kind of like basically shaking yourself out of the routine you had for that period of time and kind of getting back into a new one. But I had lots of conversations with like Fran, my psychologist, and eventually it kind of just went. And then I just started enjoying hockey again. So yeah, so having conversations with people, whether they be within your sport or not in your sport, or, you know, they might not even play sport, actually really helps. Whether that to be, you know, get something off your chest, or have a chat about hockey with someone, or whatever sport you play, is so helpful. Because like, if what I've learned about myself is I normally keep stuff in, and then eventually it'll just, like, my psychologist calls it like boil, bang, or something like that. And that's generally what I do, is I'm like a bottle, I fill up with all this stuff, and then eventually I just bang, and it's just not good for me. Whereas now I've learned, actually, right, if something's on my mind, talk about it, because as soon as I talk about it, it's off my mind, and like it kind of just resets me. So they'd be the kind of main two things I'd say. And at the end of the day, if you make it, you make it. If you don't, like, you've still got so many memories and so much stuff to be proud of, and remember those things. Don't just focus on that end goal, because if you don't make it, then you'll think you're a failure, whereas actually you're not.
Well, success is a journey, isn't it? Not a destination. That's what the wise ones say.
Yeah. And you have to enjoy that journey.
Yes, exactly. Well, Liam, I mean, a really good way to finish, and I think that's advice that any young sports person, whether they're military or civilian, can take heed of. A real pleasure to speak to you. I'm so glad you came in your Olympic kit. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We were proud. We'd be proud, medal or no, just to get there and just to be a GB Olympian and to represent is incredible from our mere minion status here as a sports reporters, fans. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to seeing what the next 4 years hold, and the rest of your career. And thanks again for being on Forces Sport.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Look at that, just in time for an aircraft coming in, I think, as well.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great videos just like this one.